Hi friends, Maggie the Inspired Coach here. Welcome to another episode of Inspire in 5. I am so excited today because those of you who've been following along will know that we're in season 2, episode 78. But for some of you, it might be the first time you've joined us because this is my first video episode. It's been audio only up until this point, but I thought that I would splash out and make it video. So welcome. Truly exciting. If you're new here, the format of the podcast is I try to keep my episodes to 5 minutes, hence the name Inspire in 5. And I thought today I would talk about change. My very first episode was about how you can change, and I thought I would touch on change again today. This feels like the new iteration, the new incarnation, the 2.0 of the podcast. So I thought it'd be nice to revisit change and encourage you all to remember that you absolutely can change. A lot of people feel like they box themselves in with these limitations, these beliefs. I'm like this, I'm like that. And they put these in invisible glass boxes and ceilings around themselves. Sometimes we just argue for our limitations. And I was reflecting on this because I'm doing a new course, actually, an advanced habit practitioner course, which I'm just enjoying so much. I'm really passionate about changing your habits. I really feel like change happens seriously just from changing our habits. Sometimes we go into all these emotions. It's like I'm so this or I'm so that, and we label ourselves. I'm very weak-willed, or I'm all or nothing. But when we take out the emotion, and yes, sometimes there is emotional stuff and things that we need to heal, but often when we take out the emotion and we're left with just the facts, we just have some bad habits or habits that are not serving us. So anyway, I thought I'd use just a very basic example today about how you can change. So if you remember back to when you were a kid, so what did we drink? We started off on mother's milk. And then we graduated to water and cordial and maybe soft drink, depending on your parents, how strict they were. And that became the thing. Like, that was your drink. Maybe in high school it was like chocolate milk. And then you went to, you finished high school and maybe you started getting into, coffee or tea and perhaps alcohol. And then that became your thing. And then maybe you gave up alcohol like I did 15 years ago. I had to replace alcohol with something else. You can't just give it up and that's it. So when I went out, what was I drinking? I was having soda water with fresh lime. So, and these days, when I was at university, I was a very heavy Diet Coke drinker, huge Diet Coke drinker. Actually, I remember I went to Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta, Georgia for 4 months. I was working at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel as a waitress when I was 24 on my uni holidays, which I loved it. And yeah, it was like Diet Coke was on tap and I drank a lot of it. And I was getting these massive headaches and these spinal tingles. And I did some research and I found out it's just terrible. It's just terrible what they put in that fake Diet Coke or diet soft drinks, the NutraSweet basically. So I was like, I have to stop drinking this. So then, I replaced it with, I think, what did I replace it with? Probably at that time I just replaced it with alcohol. But I replaced it with coffee, and I think that's where my love of coffee began. And then I realized coffee is not really great for me. It makes me anxious, and there's some other issues with coffee, but I won't get into that. I never thought I'd be able to give up coffee, but I did it. And tea, I've given that up many times. And I replaced that. I gave up tea and replaced that with mineral water. And you get my point. The point is I have changed my habits, my drinking habits over the years. And so have you. As we grow up, we change and evolve. And there was a time when, I could never give up coffee. And I did. It was very painful, very painful. I thought I was having like early onset dementia. My reflexes were so slow. I couldn't remember anything. I had foggy brain for weeks. It was like the worst thing, but I gave it up and I changed that habit and had a new habit of drinking tea, which I later changed again. But my point is, it's just a habit. You think that's who you are. You think that you couldn't give up alcohol. You think that you couldn't give up coffee, but you really can if the why is strong enough. But often it's just, who are we identifying as? Are we identifying as this particular habit? And then just dismantling that, just like a mechanic taking all the parts out and laying it out in front of you. We've got to do that with our habits. We're like, what is the habit that we want to change? What's not working for me? And who am I identifying as I'm performing this habit? And whether it's smoking or whatever it is, who am I identifying as a smoker? And you lay the habit out and you're like, okay, I need to dismantle this habit and I need to replace this with something else. And there's a whole system to that, and I'm going to get into that in other episodes. But for the moment, I just wanted to prove a really easy point that you are not the same person that you were 5 years ago, 1 year ago, 6 months ago, especially not 20 years ago. You only have to listen to, the music you listened to in high school. That is such a great exercise. For me, I would be playing New Kids on the Block, Step by Step. I loved them so much. Went to their concert when I was 14. It was brilliant with my friend Brie. Shout out to Brie. Playing New Kids on the Block, and I will be able to go into my 14-year-old self and remember what I liked, who I liked, what was important to me, my friends, all of that. I can easily get into that space whilst listening to that music. And it's just a great exercise to do. If you think you can't change, pick music from 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and then that will set off all of these senses, these sense memories for you. And you can really explore, who was I then, what was important to me then, and how much have I changed? And that just proves that you can change. So my invitation to you today is to look back in your life at all the ways that you've changed. That will give you the confidence to remember and know that you can change. And then with intention, pick something. Pick a habit that you want to change or implement, a new behavior, whatever it is, pick something and go for it. And let me know how you go in the comments, or you can email me at hello@theinspiredcoach.com.au. Till next time, my friends, stay inspired.
Like and subscribe.